All right, so we will come back into session. It is 11:15. Sir, who are you with? Your wives. Okay, you can go after this group. Okay. So we're starting back up. It is right at 11:15, and you all will introduce yourselves, tell us your name for the record, and then we'll dig into what your request is and go from there.
Good morning. My name is Suzanne Gearholt, and I'm here with Decisions, Choices, and Options. This is Joy Wassel, our founder and president. I'm the executive director, and we came before you all last year and shared with you what we do. We are a sexual risk avoidance education program in Sumner County, the only program now in middle schools for Sumner County. We were made aware this year that there were a couple of programs going in last year, but they've asked that we be the only program in our middle schools going in, teaching sexual risk avoidance education. And what that means basically is delaying the activity, any sexual activity, until marriage, but that is where it is best. We know statistically and research-wise that is best for children. It sets them up for success throughout their entire life. It helps them reach all of their educational and financial goals, relational goals, all of that. So we walk through those things. That seems like a very narrow topic to be talking about with our students, but it's where they are. It's what they're engaging in if we're not having a conversation with them. And so it's something that affects every area of their lives. All of their relationships. We go into middle schools with healthy boundaries, teaching them healthy relationship skills, how to recognize healthy and unhealthy relationships, what that looks like, refusal skills, how to have conversations, conflict management in relationships, how to recognize those relationships that maybe they need to get out of. Teaching them to talk to a trusted adult if they're in relationships that are unhealthy or unsafe. And then we talk about the dangers of social media, because students right now are on social media all over the place, and I probably don't have to share with you all of the dangers of social media going on. Specifically this year, we added sextortion. We've seen an article and had heard lots of cases of sextortion, but one in particular caught our attention, and a young man lost his life. Took his own life after being sextorted from a foreigner. Actually thought he was talking to a young girl, and when he was extorted for funds and could not come up with all of the funds, he ended up taking his own life. And this is not a kid who had mental health conditions ahead of time. This is a young football player who was well liked in his community and had a good relationship with his parents. And so when we heard that story, we pulled it into some of our curriculum and started talking with the students and parents. We actually now have a parent power that we're teaching to talk to parents about this. But when we took that adjustment to our life choices curriculum, which is our high school curriculum, in the Sumner County Board of Education, they actually said that they had teachers requesting that information. So they were glad that we had inserted that. So what we do over the summer is we make sure that we research all of the latest things that are going on and update all of our curriculum so that all of the current statistics, medical facts, anything that's going on in social media, we're on top of and adjusting that curriculum for all three of our programs. Healthy boundaries in middle school, like I shared, life choices in 9th and 10th grade, wellness classes, and cost of parenting in 11th and 12th grade, financial planning classes, which you may know in the state of Tennessee, all students have to have wellness classes before they graduate, and they have to have a financial planning class before they graduate. We meet state standards in each one of those courses of curriculum for middle school in the family life curriculum. We meet, I think, 6 standards in healthy boundaries, 8 standards in life choices, and 2 or 3 of them in the financial planning. So we come in as a guest speaker and present those programs to the students, walk through with that. Our Healthy Boundaries program is a 3-day program. It's a period class, so it's 45 minutes each day. We go in and talk to them in their social sciences classes. In Life Choices, it is a 2-day program, an hour-and-a-half block program. So if it's a period, then it's sort of, I think all of our Sumner County schools are on a block system. And then our Cost of Parenting is a 1.5-hour program where we actually walk students through What does it cost to raise a child in the first year of life? So we go from the pregnancy cost, insurance, all of that. So the first year, just the first year outside of the medical expenses is between $15,000 and $20,000 a year. That includes diapers, wipes, food, formula, all of the things that they might encounter. And we actually even walk through a scenario where there's an emergency surgery that might have to happen for the baby once it's born, and we talk about insurance. Where does insurance come from? What happens
How much does daycare cost?
all of it, yeah, the 15 to 20 doesn't cover daycare costs.
Ooh.
That's another $1,000 a month.
Do you have that in a spreadsheet? I have some money to share.
You can invite them to come to one of our college parenting classes.
I mean, it's a little late at this point, but I'm actually not, I am also new, but I'm not talking about me. Our friend's 19-year-old daughter got pregnant. She's very disillusioned about that.
Yeah. Our funniest comment that we generally hear from the guys in the classroom, because these are juniors and seniors, is I can't afford to have sex. And we're like, bingo. There you go. That's what you just need to remember. It's a costly thing that can happen, you know.
And because they're 17 and 18-year-olds, to your point in that conversation, is we talk to them too about if they don't have that money sitting around, and their parents likely don't have that money sitting around, then who covers that cost? So we talk about taxpayers covering that cost. And then we remind them, who are taxpayers? And we ask them, do any of you have a job and have taxes coming out of your paycheck? You're a taxpayer too. So it's not just don't do this because somebody else, it's going to affect somebody else, or it's just going to affect you and your bank account, but it affects the entire community that we live in, from the local level all the way up.
And on that note, I'm just going to do the teacher thing and pass these down. You can each have one. Inside is some recent information. In December, we will have completed our 21st year of serving the schools. And we started right here in Sumner County. We have 11 other counties that we teach in Tennessee, and 6 or 8, I can't remember, in Alabama. They keep changing and adding, and we've got 2 counties that are literally calling Suzanne on a daily basis saying, do you have the funds to come to Marshall County? Do you have the funds to come to Marion County? They want our programs. But I want to call your attention, first of all, we've inserted an invitation to our Thankful Breakfast. We sent them out a couple of weeks, or about a month ago, and it probably went to the County Commission's office, because I messaged Commissioner Becker to see if he received one. But you're invited to come. You did, okay, you got it, okay. So it's tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Gathering Place if you'd like to come. It's kind of like a special breakfast that we have just for our major donors. It's not a fundraising, it's just a thank you. And we give some behind-the-scenes information that other people don't really know. So that's in there. And then our push card that has all the information on our programs. But this little insert, I want you to notice, first of all, it has all of our programs from middle school through after school. We do have a Thrive program. It's an after-school program. And that all of our programs start and end with the message of success. And when I was able to meet with Governor Lee a few years ago, I asked him this question. I said, if there was a way for us to reduce poverty in Tennessee to below, it was at that time 9%. They've updated this study, that's a 25-year study on poverty, to now it's below 5%, that no one in the state of Tennessee, there would be less than 5% living on the poverty level. These are the 3 things that keep you out of poverty. It is graduate from high school and then start working after you've completed your education, whether that's high school, trade school, tech school, college. You've finished your education and you begin working full, married and have children in that order after age 21. This is the message for success. So we teach that in all of our classes. We start there and we end there. We're not coming in as a cosmic killjoy to say, don't have sex. That's not the message. We're telling them their choices during adolescence are laying the foundation for the rest of their future, their family's future, and really our community's future. And I want to call your attention to some statistics that we found.
This research too, also I noted, Joy, this year, the variance in that percentage used to relate to different demographic areas, but they have since found that it's all demographic areas. There's no background.
No ethnic background. This is the cost of educating one student through our program. So if it's a middle school student, it's taking them completely through our 3-day program, and this is just our program expense cost. It has no fundraising or marketing or anything like that. It's $48 per student annually versus paying the cost of a single mom who is a teenager the first year is $21,000. That's state, federal, and local dollars, or 1 year of incarceration. And when we were in Coffee County, because we served there as well, a Coffee County commissioner came up to us and said, I work with the prison inmates, and I work with the local, sheriffs and all, and it was $16,000 in Coffee County, and we looked it up for Sumner, and the latest data that we found was $14,780. So we can either spend the cost to educate them now, or we're going to pay for the rescue that has to be done later. And then as you go through that little handout, these are all of the things that are coming against our children today. The world that we grew up in doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And so if you look at all of those arrows pointing in on the children, that shield of support that was supposed to be there, in many cases, is not there. When one of those entities drops out, whether it's the parents, and I'm going to tell you, if we don't get parents re-engaged with children and their education and what's going on in their lives, I met with a principal at a middle school not too long ago, and she told me a horror story of a kid that they were about to put in ISS, and called the mom and the dad in to have the conversation with mom and dad about, okay, he's going into ISS, and then this is what needs to happen. And so she asked the mom and dad, and the dad was a police officer. She said, what do you see? Because they were like, we can't do anything to control him. We can't control his behavior. We can't do anything. And they said, well, what? She said, well, what is his most prized thing? Is it a sport that he plays? Is it an after-school activity? And then, no, it's his phone. And she just looked at him and said, okay, well, that's what you take away. And they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. We can't do that. And she said, well, then we're going to continue to have this conversation because he's not establishing boundaries. He doesn't have any discipline. And so they took the phone away. When they got home, the kid pulled the fire stick out of the TV, flushed it down the toilet, grabbed mom's phone, and threw it out. And again, dad's a police officer. And so the kids stayed home for 3 days, or went to ISS, and then when they came out of ISS, the principal had the meeting, and she said, well, how are things at home? And she said, they strangely said, oh, they're fine, things are fine. And she said, well, what happened? And well, we gave him his phone back.
I'd be in jail.
Serve it out. There he goes. Anyway, so these are all of the things that are coming at our kids. Pornography. The addiction to pornography in children is off the charts. And we're talking 7, 9, 10-year-olds. Because they all have a device that's unfiltered, and there's no protections on it. And so that's why we started, after COVID, really focusing on parent education. So we did 200 parent workshops, 200 parents, the first year that we really set aside and created a curriculum for parent power. We do it in, we did Jack Anderson PTA, we've done it at Indian Lake PTA, First Baptist Hendersonville, Church of the City, United Church, and we're teaching parents, these are the dangers that are coming against your children. And all of my teacher friends are like, my best friend is a second grade teacher in Sumner County, and she's like, you wouldn't believe the bullying that goes on, the online bullying, cyberbullying that goes on between second and third grade girls that have phones. She said, you wouldn't believe it. And so this is our shocking news, this one right here. From the time we started in 2002 at Hendersonville High School, first DCO program ever, to 2019, I was shocked. I had to do the math about 5,000 times. There was a 65.5% decrease in teen pregnancies from 2002 to 2019. Now, the health department has not kept up with their data. I think they just released the 2020 numbers, but 2019 was the last number we had, which translates, during that 17-year period, you just take that $21,000 a year that it costs for the teen mom and her baby that first year. So the first year, it was a 29.3% per 1,000 girls, ages 15 to 17. And that translated into 90 actual teen births, pregnancies, at $21,000 with a cost, state, local, and federal, of $1.9 million. And then look what it dropped to with just a decrease. Well, it was a huge decrease, 65%. So This is the benefit of having a strong curriculum in the school that's walking alongside the parents and the church and the community to say, you're valuable, you're worthy, you need to look forward to your future and plan accordingly. And you're capable of making good decisions. And it's the saddest thing to me when I'm talking to someone who's maybe a representative or a commissioner in an inner-city urban district, and I've had this conversation both in Tennessee and Alabama with legislators, and they say, well, our kids have to have condoms, and they have to have birth control because the pregnancy rate would just be off the charts. And I'm like, that's the most discriminatory thing I've ever heard. You're saying either one, you don't think they're capable of learning new content or learning new skills, then why are we bothering to have them here anyway? Or two, that they don't deserve it. And all kids deserve, that's our motto, all kids deserve to hear that they're worthy, they're capable, and they can learn new things. And so that's what we do. Beth Cox, our program director, is at Portland High School today, teaching, Life Choices. And then we've been in all the Sumner County schools. I think we're almost finished with Sumner County for this year. We finish generally around the middle of December, second week of December, and then we'll have the final numbers of what we did in the grant request. It has 3,500. That was up until the date that we sent the grant request in of students that we had served in Sumner County schools to date. That's middle and high school. And then the parents that were
continuing. And I'm sure that we saw a significant number of parents and students in other programs. United Church in Gallatin actually partnered with us for us to go in to see parents in their group, and there were about 100 each night in the 3 series that we did with them. So we increased our parent reach this year from 500 parents to 900.
But on that, when you go into like an elementary school for like the PTO, what is the cost associated with that for the PTO?
We don't pay for it.
You don't pay for it?
We don't charge for anything.
I'm on the PTO board for HB Williams, and we meet tomorrow, so.
Yeah, we would love to.
Absolutely.
I'm chair of fundraising, but.
No, we don't charge anything. That's why we need, and we're literally. Pardon?
For any of the
No,
programs, that's
no,
right.
we don't charge for anything. No. We
No.
rely on the generosity of and 51% of all of our income comes from individual donors.
Yes.
That just give to DCO because they see the value, they see that it impacts the community, 54%. And then the rest comes from a variety of community organizations that we partner with, state and local government. We had a State Department of Health grant for 7 years that funded us at a rate of $100,000 a year. We had to walk away from that grant because new federal guidelines were going to require us to collect gender identity spectrum on our pre and post testing, and we're like, no.
Let me say that I was kind of surprised at your program. I wandered into it because I did basketball at Merrill High, and Beth was there, and I don't know who the presenter was.
Beth was one of them, probably Ronnie or Jamie, who was just
But I will have to say, being an educator, I've been through a lot of these type programs before, and a lot of them are, you know, you could do without them as well as you could do with them. I was shocked at this program. I sat there in amazement. The kids were totally and fully engaged and quiet and attentive and asked serious and frank questions. And the answers were so good and so appropriate from the people who were doing the instruction. And I didn't know, I don't talk to these people, and I didn't know anything about this program. But I left there today, and I told Beth, and before I left, that I was just really, really taken in with this program. It needs to be everywhere.
Well, we have reapplied with Governor Lee's discretionary funding to replace the $100,000 that we lost when we chose not to participate in their gender fluidity agenda. And that came straight from the federal government. The state didn't have any ability, they would have to say no to the whole funding stream. And there were 3 organizations, us and 2 others, that walked away for that reason. It was hard. It was a big hit. It was a fourth of our budget, so it was a huge hit on our budget. But we have reapplied, and we won't know anything until March or April. for discretionary funding to replace that 100,000. And so we've really taken a very bold stance to reach out to our donor base and let them know. I mean, we have 2 counties sitting there waiting on us to come. We can't because we don't have the funding to do it. We have parent power programs that are going to kill us if we don't get some more funding in, but we're not going to turn it away because that's a key. Is the teachers for 15 years told me when I was still in the school teaching, before I had to step out and run the thing, they would say, you've got to do something with the parents. The program that you're teaching the kids is fabulous, but until the parents get on board with it, they're the ones that are going to ultimately help enforce this stuff and, you know, and hold their kids accountable. And so we would try, but all of our educators are out in schools all over Middle Tennessee, all day, from 7 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I can't ask them to travel another hour in the evening to go teach a parent power at a PTA or church or a community organization. So fortunately, we're focusing on raising funds specifically for that parent education piece. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I want to keep us on track
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
But, so, we currently, last year, we gave you 8,500, your request is for 10, and I understand. I guess my question is, the other 10 counties in Tennessee and several in Alabama, did any of those provide, to all of them, or?
I think actually, because Sumner County has been such a good supporter of our themselves, and for about 3 months, they weren't sure that that was something that they wanted to invest in, quite honestly, in nonprofit organizations in general. And so we went down there to their commission meetings, and they eventually ended up funding it. I think part of it was because they saw that Sumner County was a support in that.
And Robertson
County for the first time this year as well.
Robertson at $3,000 too. So those are both entry points. Which is the first funding.
Yeah, we see
stream.
so many less students in those counties.
So is it just the 3?
Just the
Right now,
three.
but we're going for Coffee County next. Coffee County is one of our larger counties.
And
And we start with the largest counties that cost us the most to provide the programs. And Sumner County is always going to be our most expensive county that we teach.
We see
because we
that of our
teach
students.
all of the programs in Sumner County. And we're going to see anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 students just in this county. So it's always going to cost us the most to do it here. But then we're choosing to go in order of the nearest counties and then the largest. So Lawrence County and Coffee County are 2 of the big ones that we're going after next. So the goal is to have every county. Grundy may be a stretch. Grundy County may be a stretch. But to have every county commission. And we have City of Gallatin, City of Hendersonville. And so where there's city money, we're going after that as well. And we have a really good in with Lawrence County, so that's looking very promising that county. Because the state grant had covered those 7 counties that weren't in our geographical region that we could do fundraising. Because, you know, we can go into the counties that are nearby and fundraise, but those were on the southern tier of the state, so we didn't have the ability. So the state grant funded that. So when that went away, you know, we were sitting here with this dilemma of, do we just completely eliminate those programs in 7 counties that we've been teaching for 6 years? It's a business and marketing decision, and I think it's really
Commissioner Reiner, to your point too, on the increase in that, what we're hoping to do too is to reach the teachers. So we realized through an evaluation that we spent about a year on with our Life Choices program, seeing if we're creating that community shield around the students. After we leave the classroom, what are they talking about 6 months later, a year later, a couple of years later? And the teachers are the ones who see that. And so we learned through interviewing the teachers and getting some evaluations back from the teachers that the content that we teach in the classroom not only teaches the student, but it also teaches the teachers, because we are the experts in this field. And so they're learning material too that they're actually changing in their classroom to present to the students, and continuing to have the conversation with them down the road. And so the students are, because the teachers are in the classroom with them, and they're there every day, the students are going to the teachers and having conversations with them too. So in that, creating that community shield, it is absolutely happening in the classroom.
And we
I
so
hate to cut it
appreciate,
short, but we
we so appreciate all that you've done to support us and fund us. And I
Yes,
Look forward to
thank you
seeing
very
you.
much.
If you're coming tomorrow,
I'm
hopefully,
gonna try to be there, yes.
hopefully, yeah.
And if you
for
have
all
any
y'all.
other
Thank
questions,
you.
please don't hesitate to reach out.
And thank you for increasing,
If we're able to come tomorrow, do we need to RSVP to you or anything like that, or? Okay.
if you
We can just
You can, or
You
just
can.
show up.
You can just show up, we're gonna have plenty of food, Gay always makes a lot of food, so don't worry about that.
Yes.
But we appreciate the increase that you all gave without us even asking for it
Yeah.
last year. That was, you'll never know what a really positive
Huge.
impact that made on our staff, and just realizing we've gone through a lot with this, stepping down from $100,000, but it was an ethical thing that we couldn't stay without, so, yeah, we appreciate it. So,
All right,
thank you.
Thank you so much, appreciate it. If you see the White House person out there,
Okay, we will definitely, we'll send him your way.
thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much. Let's just get the whole 100,000 in.
How are you? Sorry, we had to flip, I appreciate your flexibility. Can you just start with, just give us your name and, your request, and let us know how we can support you.
Okay, I'm Kevin Whitaker. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of White House, which the Senior Center falls under that purview. So, and we're just asking for the same amount of funds we pretty much always have ever since I've been with the city. And this is just to kind of help offset the costs of our senior lunch that we provide. We charge just $3 for the seniors, and then we are charged, I think, $5.50 by the caterer. So, obviously we're losing some money there. So, and this would just kind of help offset that, obviously. And our numbers have grown so much, but even over the last year, I think we've only had, maybe we're average 75 to 90 seniors for every meal, and now it's like pretty much 150.
You provide meals every day or once a week?
Just once a week.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
trying to fit it in there, yeah. We actually have Meals on Wheels now, too, that we're doing once a week as well, but that's free, provided by the state, so.
Okay.
What type of meal is that?
It's like we require like a meat and vegetable and starch, and then I think a drink as well, so. But usually, he does like a dessert and all kinds of stuff. I don't know how he does it all for $5.50.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's good cheap.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions?
What would you say your split is on Sumner and Robertson County?
I think it's really close, but I think Robertson is like 52 to, I think that's what the senior coordinator looked up when she looked at all the membership. Now, the actual ones coming to the senior meal, it's hard to say, but
Sure.
just as far as memberships go, it's like 52, 48, something like that.
What does Robertson County provide?
Nothing right now.
Okay.
But it's been really difficult to even find a way to find any funding from them. But we did find out from a couple of the senior centers that are in Robertson County that they do get some funding from them somehow. So we reached out to, I think, the one that's in Orlinda, and she provided us with a name of somebody there that we're going to pursue that for sure. So.
Okay. Okay. Anyone have any additional questions? All right, I'm thinking, if my notes are right, so last year, I think you requested the same amount of 9,500. I think we provided 2,500. Okay, so your request is back to that same 95. Anyone have any questions? All right. Well, thank you for coming in again. Thanks for your flexibility on the schedule there.
Thank you.
You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right, so we are,
I think she's here.
okay,
Somebody popped
we have
their
a
head
home
in.
safe at 11:45.
And our lunch is here,
So the cameras are, so
Are they?
after this next one, we have a
I saw somebody put
break.
their head in.
That whole situation at White House, so being Robertson County and Sumner County.
Yeah.
Because as soon as one said, we're gonna cut funds, the other one's like, we're gonna cut funds later. I mean, we're gonna.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing great, thanks.
Good.
So, appreciate you coming in today. If you could just, as you start off, just give us your name for the record here. We got the recording going, but, and then just tell us about your organization and why you've come to make the request.
Yeah, of course. So, let me pop this up real quick. It'll give you a little more space and detail. So, Homesick was founded in 1983 by a group of women who had seen that there was a need for an organization that fulfilled a service to domestic violence clients. So we've, over the past 40 years, we've celebrated our 40th anniversary. So in the past 40 years, we've helped over 30,000 survivors in the Sumner, Wilson, and Robertson counties. We do incorporate Caldwell County. It's just so small, nobody else covers it, so we have also encouraged that, but it's not in our title. Through domestic violence, you see a lot of people at their lowest point, but with our services, we're able to make sure that they have food. We provide food boxes, we provide counseling services, we provide just about pretty much any basic need that they could need in their daily lives. So, shampoo, conditioner, makeup, clothes, furniture, we have that. And part of our, I think in our documentation that we sent in, you know, we have what we call intake. So we receive either donations or we allocate budgets for that. We also help, you know, if they need housing, we can help with rent. We can, well, not rent, but we can help with a security deposit. We get in contact with other organizations and agencies that kind of pair as a sisterhood. I helped with an organization, they were looking for immigrant housing, and, you know, we partnered with Salvation Army to kind of get them at the right place. It wasn't for us, but, you know, we were able to kind of fill the gap as needed. So some of our services that we provide safety services, so our advocates can go to court with them, help them to file protection of orders. So, you know, we also provide the counseling. We've really ramped up and we're really trying to evolve the organization. So we've actually started other programs to help them feel like individuals again. So we're going to start a gardening program in the spring to help teach them how to nurture themselves while also nurturing their food. And then we're also going to try to evolve a cooking class to teach them how to be normal. How we're taking you from this awful situation, we're trying to grow you and empower you to be the best individual you can be. So we're going to try to do cooking classes, a mommy and me cooking class to help create that bond that, you know, some parents don't have. You know, they're still stuck in that trauma, and so we're trying to teach them how to embrace their family again. We're also going to start movie Mondays for the kiddos, so that way the parents can take a moment. They can either go to support groups, they can either go run and get groceries. Right now, they can go and get Christmas gifts if they can afford it. If they're not part of our families that we're sponsoring for Christmas, we do partner with a lot of organizations at Christmas to help give them a Christmas. So it just kind of gives them a moment. Whether they need to sit in the car for 2 hours, you know, just feel the emotions they need to feel and just step away. So we're going to do movie Mondays, and then during the summer, we're going to start kind of like they do movie in the parks in Nashville. We're going to do a once a week movie. We're going to sit out some lawn chairs, pop the kids some popcorn, and just try to give them the best step forward to fill normalcy, to get back to what life should be like. We have other programs, like I said, cooking, mommy and me cooking classes. They have a support group going on. We're going to start a book club. You know, we have all these ideas about how to take it one step further. We're in talks of trying to partner, I forget the organization, but partner into transitioning housing too. Because right now we only have emergency housing, so we do not have that next step of what, you're in emergency shelter, but how do you go into transition? So we're working on partnering with that. There's talks of us getting a house donated in Sumner County to incorporate that. That's something that's a possibility. We don't have the list of that, but we're trying to take that step forward, get in the community, and really branch out and try to see how do we get Home Safe as the best organization again. We're also in the process of changing our shelter name. Instead of just calling it the shelter or safe house, we want it to feel like a home. So we're going to, Sherry was one of our founders, but we didn't want to insult anyone, so we're actually going to call it Marsala's house. So it actually gives them a piece of home. Like, Marsala's house sounds a lot better on the tongue than safe house or shelter. And it's actually Marsala's also Sherry in Italian. So, we're trying to just find ways to be the best we can for our clients and just for our community.
How do you get connected with these families or with these individuals?
So we actually have a hotline, and they can call on the hotline 24/7.
But how do they even know?
So that's where we're trying to partner with, the police. We're trying to get our connections out. Other organizations, we just had a call from Nashville. They had a client in our area that had reached out to them. So partnering with other organizations to help fill that gap. Getting involved with the police in the court systems. Our advocates are in the court 2 or 3 times a week. So getting our name there, talking with legal aid, anywhere we can, we are trying to get out into that community. We have a volunteer coordinator who's trying to ramp up our community outreach, going to churches. We did the Halloween event, we're going to do the parade, and then that way we can give out, I think we're going to give out, little cards, or we have, in the past, we've given out mail files, so the abusers couldn't see. Nobody's going to look at a mail file, that's just a woman's thing, or, so we're trying to find ways to branch out and just evolve our community or outreach.
When was the last time you all requested funds from us specifically?
So it looks like she did not give me a date. So we had actually requested funds the last time 2 years ago, I believe. No? Did we get funds? Sorry, I just started. So I'm trying to remember everything. I think Sumner County we get funds from. I think our old request for Robertson and Wilson, but I think we get funds from Sumner County. So it's been within the last 3 years. We've received $3,500 in the past and $2,500 in the past.
Okay. Because they must have missed the deadline or whatever last year too, because this last year you didn't make a request, so it sounds like
21, 22.
so 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's fine. I just wanted to.
I knew we had missed them. I just wasn't sure how. Unfortunately, we've missed a few. So we are.
What was your name?
I'm Lindsay. I'm the new director
What's
of
your
operations.
last name?
Voight, VOIGTS.
You're the director of what, I'm sorry?
Director of operations. So, and then Susan, who was our old director of operations, she's now our executive director.
Can you spell your last name one more time?
VOIGTS.
Thank you.
You're welcome. OTJP. So they cover, we have the VOCA grant, the FITSPA grant, and the FITSPA art, and then we just got, we call it state. Anytime we see an opportunity, we also just got another grant for DCS. It was somebody who kind of partners with both organizations to try to keep the kids in the household. So they would kind of be a dual partnership, but we got the grant to cover that position specifically. So, anytime we see a grant coming through, we're trying our best. Susan has a bunch of ideas for this organization. She's so fun to work under. So she's already started working on the memorial grant, we missed the Predators grant, but they're the ones that we're gonna try to partner with for the gardening, because they like specific projects. We got a shed, so we're gonna have a shed with all clothes for women, so we can go in and try on clothes, and so we have a lot of hope. We're starting back on our fundraising, which will be, we're gonna have a golf tournament in the fall, and then a cornhole tournament in the spring. So we have a lot of big plans for our organization. Any other questions? Oh, and I can tell you.
I'm so sorry, this that you submitted, this is your budget for the next year. You don't have any did you submit any actuals from previous years?
I do not know. I can follow up with you, and if I have an email, I can send you whatever you need. I've lost mine. No problem.
What does OCJP stand for?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I just see it, I mean, it just called it OCJP.
Yeah, I haven't learned it all. I should have written that down.
Looks like it's Office of Criminal Justice Program.
Yes.
Office of Criminal, okay.
So it is state and federal funding.
Office of Criminal Justice Programs, that's OCJP.
I didn't want to be the,
Well,
and be like, I don't know.
yeah, I looked it up.
And we just had our monitor visit, we just had our financial audit, and that went very well. And then we just had our monitor visit with no findings as of Tuesday, so.
You know how many people you served last year?
Yeah, I was actually gonna let you know. So for last fiscal year, we served 888 clients.
Okay.
And for those 888 clients, that's Sumner, Robertson, and Wilson County. And out of those 688, we served 6,805 services for each of those clients. So it's roughly about 10 services per client. And just in Sumner County alone, we served 235. And this year, I don't have the big numbers. They were working on a big report last night, and they didn't get done until about 9. But this year, I don't know the exact percentages, but this year we're on track to surpass last year's numbers. Like even within the first quarter, we've surpassed last year's numbers. And that's before we include all of our, other like movie nights and, the things that we've started to incorporate now.
So, you said Sumner County was 235, what was that total,
688.
688 total?
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of your funding, though, is specific to Sumner.
85%.
Yeah, it looks like Robertson doesn't provide any, well, neither one, Robertson nor Wilson provide any funding, am I looking at that correct?
We used to get like United Way. I know that we used to get some United Way funding and other smaller ones. Those deadlines were missed, so unfortunately.
Even from the OCJP, I don't know how the formula works, but I mean that's from a Tennessee and federal, state and federal, whatever. I don't know why the percentage is so slanted for Sumner when it's 235 out of 688. But regardless, that money would be divvied up. Sort of doesn't really come into play, I don't think. But anyway, okay. Anyone have any other questions for her?
I don't think so. I don't.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it.
Is there anything I need to follow up with?
I don't, not at this point. Well, we're a subcommittee of our budget committee, so we'll end up making a recommendation to our budget committee, then they'll make a recommendation to our full commission, and so it'll probably be toward the end of the calendar year before, you hear back or anything like that.
Yeah, and if there's anything we can, I didn't have the actual numbers, so if there's something y'all need, please let us know and I'll follow up.
And do you have her contact, or is
I
Susan
have
Prato?
Okay, yeah.
Is Susan still there?
Yes.
Yes, there she is. So,
Yes,
and
she's usually the one that I communicate with, but yeah.
Executive director.
And I probably had more
Yeah.
paperwork from him,
No,
like,
it's
so
fine.
I may have that already.
Thank you.
And then if, and like I said, if you need anything, just shoot us an email, we'll get it to you.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Does anyone need another paper? Are you good?
I think we got them all. I appreciate it.